Moving along, just to the time, when should we deactivate social media? A principle. Because people always like are now, and I really think it's a good time to think about that, right? Not all platforms you can, but some platforms you might want to. Sheikh Sayyid Ruhaili was asked this question, and he gave two principles. Here on YouTube is taking the link. He was asked a question about social media addiction, people being addicted to social media. So he said two principles, take them. Number one, كل ما يلهي عن واجب فهو حرام. Anything that distracts from obligations, forbidden. And number two, وكل ما يلهي عن فضيلة فهو مكروه. And everything that distracts from virtue is disliked. So here, Shaykh Samir Rahil Hafidullah Ta'ala, he gave principles in order to govern social media addiction. And so from these principles, you can see when is a good time, either wajib, right, to consider it, or dislike, or like recommend to consider deactivating a particular social media, or the very least, putting controls and locks on it. If social media leads you to leave off a wajib and social media is only mubah, Sharia says wajib come before a mubah. So an example he gave is at work. Work is wajib because you get paid for it. And you hear he says some people scrolling, right, on social media. The guests and clients are coming asking for help, and the person says, "Don't you see I'm busy?" And he's on the phone. Allah time. And we have this problem too, right? Somebody is supposed to be, for example, watching their kids, or supposed to be doing their schoolwork, or they're supposed to do, and it's just on their phone. So now it could happen here and there, but imagine it's distracting you from the wajib. Became haram. If it's haram, you have two choices: either deactivate or you put the controls, you lock off, right, the apps for a certain duration. Second one is a very interesting one. If it's distracting you from a fadila, virtue, like talab al-ilm, or becoming the best version of yourself in terms of your akhlaq and your deed, or your health, or your, your aspirations of the ability to volunteer in the masjid or help the community. فهو مكروه, because that which is father takes precedence over the mafdul. Social media is not even mafdul in of itself. It's not virtuous in of itself. It's only mubah. But let's say you are in a predicament where social media has virtue, and there's something more virtuous. I see Shaykh Ismail Ruhaili, he mentioned Ta'ala, the Quran as example. Hifd the Quran is awla, it's more deserving and more important than doing any forms of da'wah. If someone to say, I only have an hour, what should I do? Quran, Hifd the Quran, muraja'ah, reviewing the Quran and reading it is more rewarding than social media, using it for da'wah. But the best is combining, right? So you do your Quran, finish your juz, your hizb, then you do some shares of fawaid. But what's happening today? Some people might say, I got derailed from my study because I was busy on social media. We say, Jazakallah khair for your good efforts, but if it's taking you away from a fadila, a virtue, فهو مكروه. So Sheikh gave the example. People spend hours on social media. They could have read so much Quran. Now, someone might say, well, we can do both. Good. So try to make that as your method. So I'm using these two principles to help us to know that there is times where someone either is going to be advised to or is going to be recommended to deactivate depending on what is leading them to. And this is a very beneficial point, and kind of the premise of what I'm trying to do in this presentation. How Sheikh Sumail Ruhaili Ta'ala mentioned principles when he's asking the question. Our presentation is kind of various principles to help us as well.